The ballroom of the Grand Hotel glittered with golden lights, crystal chandeliers, and the quiet hum of the richest people in the city. Expensive perfumes mixed with the scent of fresh roses placed on every table. Waiters moved gracefully through the crowd, carrying trays of sparkling drinks, while soft piano music floated through the air. It was a charity gala organized by one of the most powerful men in the region, billionaire Kareem Al Nasser. Kareem was known for many things: his enormous wealth, his sharp business mind, and his effortless charm. At only 38, he owned hotels, oil investments, and luxury resorts across several countries. Tonight, he stood near the center of the ballroom, surrounded by businessmen and elegant women in shimmering gowns. His dark suit was perfectly tailored, and the expensive watch on his wrist flashed under the chandelier lights. The conversation around him was loud and cheerful until Kareem suddenly laughed, pointing playfully toward the entrance of the hall. "Look at that," he said with amusement. Standing near the doorway was a young woman wearing a very simple dress. Compared to the glittering outfits in the room, her clothing looked almost out of place. The dress was soft blue, elegant but modest, without diamonds or expensive jewelry. She seemed hesitant, as if unsure whether she truly belonged there. One of Kareem's friends chuckled. "She must be lost." Another woman whispered, "These events are invitation only. How did she even get in?" Kareem took a sip of his drink and smirked. His tone was playful but arrogant. "If you walk in wearing that dress," he said loudly enough for the nearby guests to hear, "I might even marry you." The group around him burst into laughter. The young woman at the door clearly heard the comment. For a brief moment she froze. Some people expected her to leave in embarrassment, but instead she slowly lifted her head. Her name was Lena. She had spent the entire day debating whether she should come to this gala. The invitation in her hand had been sent to her late father months ago. He had once been a respected architect who helped design several buildings for Kareem's company before he passed away suddenly the previous year. Lena had almost thrown the invitation away. She wasn't rich, and she certainly didn't belong among billionaires. But something inside her told her she needed to come. So she took a deep breath and walked forward. The sound of her heels tapping against the marble floor echoed across the room. Conversation slowly quieted as guests turned to watch the unexpected scene. Lena walked straight toward Kareem. The laughter around him faded. Now that she was closer, people noticed something surprising. Even without diamonds or makeup as heavy as the other women wore, Lena possessed a natural elegance that drew attention instantly. Her eyes were calm and confident, and the simple blue dress moved gracefully as she walked. She stopped directly in front of Kareem. For the first time that evening, the billionaire looked slightly uncertain. "Good evening," Lena said politely. Her voice was soft but steady. Kareem raised an eyebrow. "Well, you certainly walked in." A few guests laughed nervously. Lena looked at him without anger, without embarrassment, only quiet confidence. "You said you might marry me if I walked in wearing this dress," she replied calmly. The crowd leaned closer, curious about what would happen next. Kareem smiled again, though this time the humor in his expression wasn't as strong. "It was just a joke," he said. "This is a charity gala. People say many things at parties." Lena nodded slowly. "I know." Then she reached into her small purse and placed a folded document on the table beside him. Kareem glanced down. His smile disappeared instantly, because the paper carried the official seal of one of his own companies. "What is this?" he asked. "My father's final project," Lena answered quietly. "He designed the coastal eco-resort your company is about to build." Several businessmen nearby leaned closer. The project she mentioned was worth hundreds of millions. Kareem opened the document quickly. Inside were detailed sketches, signatures, and a letter written by Lena's father shortly before he died. The letter explained that he had created a revolutionary architectural design that could reduce construction costs by almost 40% while protecting the coastline environment. Kareem's eyes widened as he flipped through the pages. "This design," he murmured. "Yes," Lena said gently. "My father spent 3 years perfecting it." The room had gone completely silent. "He never got the chance to present it to you," Lena continued. "After he passed away, I finished organizing his work." One of Kareem's senior advisors stepped forward and glanced at the drawings. His expression turned shocked. "Kareem, this could change the entire project." The billionaire looked back at Lena, this time with a completely different expression. "You're telling me this was your father's design?" "Yes." And you finished the proposal yourself? Lena nodded. I studied architecture with him since I was 16. For a moment, Karim said nothing. The arrogant amusement he had earlier was gone. Instead, something like respect appeared in his eyes. You came here tonight just to show me this? Partly, Lena said. And the other reason? Karim asked. She looked around the room, at the diamonds, the expensive dresses, the curious faces staring at her. Then she smiled slightly. To prove that a simple dress doesn't define a person's value. The words hung in the air. A few guests looked down awkwardly. Karim slowly closed the document and took a deep breath. Then, to everyone's surprise, he laughed again. But this time it wasn't mocking. It was impressed. Well, he said thoughtfully. A few minutes ago, I made a joke. He stepped forward and looked directly at Lena. But now I realized something. The room held its breath. Karim lifted the folder slightly. A woman who walks into a room full of billionaires with nothing but confidence and a design that could change my entire project, he smiled, is far more interesting than any diamond necklace in this room. Soft murmurs spread through the crowd. Lena raised an eyebrow. So, Karim continued, his tone warm but sincere now, maybe I shouldn't joke about marriage. The guests leaned even closer. Maybe, he said slowly, I should start with dinner. For the first time that evening, Lena laughed. And in that glittering ballroom filled with power and wealth, something unexpected had happened. The billionaire who once laughed at a simple dress had just met the only woman in the room who truly impressed him.